Hi, my name is Cara Torres Vega, and I will be talking about the assignment of informative speech. The topic I chose for this assignment is about water. Water is a molecule with one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms, and they are bonded by shared electrons. Electron An electron is a negatively charged subatomic particle. Also, water it is a V-shaped polar molecule, which means that it's charged positively near the hydrogen atoms because they are positive and are negative near the oxygen atom, and the oxygen is negative. This helps us know that water molecules are naturally attracted and stick to each other, and because of this polarity there is a result of a forming hydrogen bond, which gives us the result of the chemical and physical properties. Because of the hydrogen bond between water molecules, there is a reason behind it that two of the water's unique properties are cohesion and adhesion. And cohesion refers to the fact that water sticks to itself very easily, while adhesion means the water also sticks very well to other things. Cohesion sticks to each other, and adhesion sticks to other stuff. This also means why water spreads out in a thin film on certain surfaces, which this goes to the next property, that has a high level of surface tension. And this means that the molecules on the surface of the water are not surrounded by similar molecules on all sides. So they're being pulled only by cohesion from the molecules deep inside. And what do we talk about cohesion? That it only sticks to each other. So, for example, if we put a leaf in the water, it's not gonna go through. It's gonna stay floating because the cohesion of the water is gonna make like a barrier, so the leaf stays there softly and firmly. Another result of the surface tension is the capillary action. And the capillary action is where the water adheres to the inside of the plant's tubes. This is when it rains or you pour water in a plant. It goes first through the roots and it starts to go up, but it goes in a zigzag way, like this, to the tubes of the water so they can reach the leaves. And this makes the water rise and cohere itself again to the process that continues until enough water builds up to make gravity begin pulling back down. It goes up and then goes back down. Also, water has a very high specific capacity, which is the amount of heat per unit mass required to raise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Another property is the high heat of vaporization. Water has high heat of vaporization, which means that it can take a lot of heat without its temperature rising much. And water is often known as a universal solvent, which means that many substances dissolve in it. This is a result of two properties that are very important in water, and these are that the substances that dissolve in water are called hydrophilic, which means that they are molecules that are attracted to water molecules. That's why they're called hydrophilic. It's like I love water. And an example of that is salt and sugar, and that is because they're both polar, like water is polar. So they dissolve very well in it. On the contrary, substances that do not dissolve in water are called hydrophobic, molecules. So they are afraid of water. They do not attract to water. And an example of this is oil and water, and that is why they do not stick together. That is why you pour water and then oil, you're never gonna see them dissolve. You're gonna see a layer of water and a layer of oil. They do not mix. The water cycle. This cycle is made up of a few main parts: evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Evaporation is when the sun heats up the water in the rivers or lakes or the oceans and turns it into vapor or steam. The vapor or steam leaves in the river, lake, or ocean and goes into the air. The second one, condensation. Water vapor in the air gets cooled and charges back into liquid, forming clouds. And the third one, precipitation, occurs when so much water has condensed that the air cannot hold it anymore. The clouds get heavy and water falls back to the earth in the form of rain, hail, sleet, or snow. When water falls back to the earth as precipitation, it may fall back into the oceans, lakes, or rivers, or it may end up on land. When it ends up on land, it will either soak into the earth and become part of the groundwater that plants and animals use to drink, or it may run over the soil and collect in the oceans, lakes, or rivers, where the cycle starts all over again. Water and our body. What does water do for you? Well, first, it is very important for our body because the brain and heart are composed of 73% of water, and the lungs are about 83% of water. The skin contains 64% of water, muscles and kidneys are 79%, and even the bones are watery, containing 31% of water. Water serves as a number of essential functions to keep us all going. Like for example, form saliva for digestion. That means when you're gonna eat, the, the mouth forms the saliva that it contains water, so you can swallow the food. Keeps mucosal membranes moist. For example, in your nose. Allows body cells to grow, reproduce, and survive. Without any water, there will be no reproduction of new cells in your body. Flushes body waste, mainly in urine. Urine is composed in the majority of water and other percents of potassium and salts. It also lubricates joints, and water is a major component of most body parts, as we said already about the percents of each one. Needed by the brain to manufacture hormones and neurotransmitters. It regulates body temperature in sweating and respiration. In sweating, the water is the main component of 99% of water, and the other 1% are minerals and salts. Water acts as a shock absorber for brain and spinal cord. As we said, that the brain contains 73% of the water, and this is why it has a lot of water. It also converts food to components needed for survival, like indigestion. And it helps us deliver oxygen all over our body. Here we can see a daily water chart. This chart tells us the water that we require in our body because we are composed of 70% of water. The water we need to to drink every day is going to depend on the weight that we have. For example, I weigh 120 pounds, and this means, if you can see in the table, that I need to drink daily 48 ounces of water. And in conclusion, water is one of the most important substances on earth. All plants and animals must have water to survive. If there was no water, there would be no life on earth. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Water is the driving force of all nature." Thank you.